Test one, two. Test one, two. Test one, two. Is that working for you guys? Test one, two. I don't think so. Checking out a few things here. Let's see. You guys hear me out there? One, two, one, two.
Some,
Just kidding. It doesn't work. One, two. No, 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 no. Still the same.
let's see here. Can you? Hmm. Let's see. Here. Okay, you can hear me. Okay, good. All right, so that's working now. Okay, great. How about that? Okay, so I don't know what happened there, but it's working now. I'm turning it down. It's not too loud for you guys. I have some music here in the background, but I'm watching a stream of a live streamer. His name is Ian Kirkpatrick. So, why you should build a media company in 2024. So, I want to show you an article by LeBron James. You guys know LeBron James, right? Let's see. Where was I reading this? Let's see. Was it on Twitter? Let me see really quick here. I was reading this article. First, it was in the Wall Street Journal. First, it was about Jennifer Lopez, J-Lo, talking about how she has a new documentary on her life, et cetera, et cetera. But then it went to LeBron James, Wall Street Journal. Okay. And let's see here if I can find it. Talking about what he's doing post basketball, being that he's almost to the end of his life. I mean, end of his basketball life, I guess. Let's see here. LeBron. Let me show you what I'm looking at here so you can see. So there he goes. I hope we can read it on here because, sometimes they don't show you the whole article unless you subscribe. So it's called The Insatiable Ambition of LeBron James, a basketball legend, is building a business that includes movies and TV, advertising, and a grooming line. So part of a new model for how athletes and you and me can cash in on their fame. Yeah, see, it says here, yeah, blah, blah, blah. Man, I was reading it. I have it on my phone. How come I can see it on my phone and read it on my phone? Let's see if I can. How can I do this? Show you what my phone is. How can I show you this article from my phone? How can I plug in my phone to the computer? Well, I'm gonna just screenshot a few of the part of the article here, so you can read along about Spring Hill is the name of his media company. Spring Hill, valued at $725 million. And now, before you say, well, I'm not LeBron James, of course, neither am I, are most of us, but the principles still apply to you and me. And so I'm just kind of screenshotting here a bunch of the articles. So let me see now if I can show it to you here on the screen so we can read along. Being that I can't just show it to you online. Let's see here if I can share it first with myself. Okay, let's see here. Okay, there it is. Okay, so I'm just airdropping it to myself, and then you'll see it on the screen here in a second. Okay, let's see here. So I'm going to quit out of this, and then, are these it right here? Downloads. Yeah, I think these are it, right? At least some of them. Let's see. Date last added. So these would be the ones, right? Okay, so let's see if I can open all these together and see what we can do here to show you at least some of the basics of this article. So let's make this a little bigger. Let's close this, hide sidebar, make this bigger so you guys can read a little bit. Okay, so let me see if I can go back to the first slide here. Okay, so this is it. So first is talking about how he has already a bunch of investments, and the article talks about Magic Johnson, if you remember, how he became a billionaire after his playing days through movie theaters, Starbucks, etc. I mean, who can ever forget the Magic Johnson theaters in Compton, right? Inglewood. By the way, did you know that the DA that is prosecuting Trump, she's from Inglewood? I forget her name. Willis? Something Willis? Anyway, I thought that was awesome. So anyway, it says here that he loves the NBA, of course. He loves Neutrogena, pink grapefruit wash. So he's into face wash. But he goes on to talk about his business potential, and it says here his company, Spring Hill, is launching its own rival face wash in men's grooming line, part of, let me make this bigger, part of a major expansion of his burgeoning business empire in the twilight of his career. So again, you might think, well, I don't have $700 million. I'm not LeBron. Yes, but all of us have influence. And instead of working a 9 to 5, or instead of just hoping that you have an amazing boss, or hoping you don't get fired, or whatever, all the usual stuff, I know, at least for me, I've always been into media, and I think that more of us, whether you're an influencer or not, like I don't have a huge following, like my live streams are not popular. I have 800 followers on Instagram, 1,000 on Twitter, and not a lot of engagement. I don't have a lot of videos, meaning I am not popular online. But we all have these tools, and all it takes is one idea to work for you to be able to have all that you want. So going on here, it says here, almost a decade ago, James helped create a new kind of company, one built around the personality of a, I don't know if that says athlete or famous superstar, who can talk directly to millions of millions of fans, I guess, or something. On social media, entertainment was their primary. Spring Hill has made movies like Adam, blah, blah, okay. So then, of course, maybe you've seen LeBron's show, the barbershop show called The Shop. Pretty good. Now, James and his longtime business partner and his longtime Maverick Carter have a dizzying list of expansion ideas. Beyond the grooming line, Spring Hill is making plans to expand internationally with an eye on Western Europe, the UK, possibly Japan, and Africa. The company's plans to bring a version of The Shop to the UK. I like The Shop. It's a ton of podcasts now. Hosted and executive produced by British actor Idris Elba, Spring Hill is discussing launching a free ad-supported streaming channel and is hunting for acquisitions with a particular focus on video games and animation. Very interesting, right? Here's a question for you and me, what would your media company be focused on? So let's go back up top here. Let's see here. So let's keep reading. It says here, Spring Hill is the most mature and the most diversified of the bunch, with lines of business that include advising brands on strategy and creating content for advertisers like Nike. The majority of Spring Hill's roughly $200 million in revenue comes, let me make this bigger here, comes from its studio business and advertisers hiring the company to create sponsored short videos meant to be shared on social media. For example, Toyota hired the company to create a short video about the importance of historically black colleges and universities. When visitors enter Spring Hill offices in LA, they're greeted with a neon sign saying, "I am more than an athlete." It's dawning on more companies, from media to sportswear to luxury goods, that athletes can have a much bigger footprint in the business world than just starring in ads and movies, Carter said. There's a long history of athletes forging lucrative careers in business. As I mentioned, Magic Johnson became a billionaire, not as a former Lakers star, but through investments in an insurance company, movie theaters, and sports franchises, among other areas. Now, social media has allowed athletes to develop a deeper connection with consumers, giving them ever greater opportunities. Let's keep reading here. Let's see, make this bigger. Omaha Productions. Omaha. The entertainment company started by former NFL star Peyton Manning, has gained significant traction, not just because its series quarterback became a Netflix hit last year, but because it is intent on developing a robust pipeline. You don't want to be a one-trick pony in this business, said David Nevins, a former head of Paramount Showtime, who is now CEO of North Road, which has a stake in Omaha. Having your company attached to a famous athlete only gets you so far. It's a smart company, builders that will win. So let's keep reading here. Isn't this amazing? The list of such outfits keeps growing. The NBA's Giannis Antetokounmpo in January announced a new production company, Improbable Media, whose first offering is a documentary about his rise for Amazon's Prime Video. About his rise for, okay. It's not only superstar, JJ Redick, a successful NBA role player, has launched his own firm built around podcasts like The Old Man and the Three. Yeah, I've also seen that podcast. A lot of these guys do podcasts. You know that I've been podcasting since like 2005, maybe like 20 years or so. It's probably the thing I love the most is podcasting more than video. But now, of course, video and short video content is king with TikTok and all the rest. Pat McAfee parlayed a career as an NFL punter, not exactly the most glamorous of positions, into a successful YouTube show, building a company that now licenses its program to Disney's ESPN. A lot of people saying, why am I not doing it if LeBron is? Said Paul Watcher, CEO of Main Street Advisors, a brilliant investor who's been an advisor to James since 2005. So it's not a great question. Why not me? Why not you and me? Let's see here. Let's keep reading, right? This is good. Investors who did put money into Spring Hill are optimistic in part because it is stretching beyond the uncertain business of producing hits in Hollywood. Hits can be consumer products, a touring live show, partnerships with Fortune 100 brands, as well as TV and film projects, said Jason Stein, founder and managing partner at SC Holdings, an investor in Spring Hill and advisor to the company. By design, Spring Hill is not focused exclusively on hits in the traditional sense. Part of what they were saying is that you can't just focus on one thing, and there's a ton of these media companies now. I mean, you think of Gary Vee and his company, VaynerMedia. I don't hear a lot about it anymore, but everybody has, I mean, Tai Lopez, right? He was training people on building media companies, but I don't know if really any of them are very successful. Company builders, James ignited a movement in the sports world. Kevin Durant, Megan Ball. Others have launched media companies hoping to control their own narrative, make a cultural impact, and build a real business. And let's see here. Spring Hill is trying to distinguish itself with scripted content, but hasn't had many breakthroughs. It is in early development with Brad Pitt's production company on a new show about sports agents that will be similar to Netflix's popular show Call My Agent, according to people familiar with this. Some media investors who have looked at Spring Hill question whether it is worth a $725 million valuation it was given when it raised money in late 2021 at the peak of the streaming video boom. Investors who did put money into Spring Hill are optimistic, in part because it is stretching beyond. We already had that. So, pretty amazing, right? Pretty awesome. And this is not a new concept, but obviously when you see someone like LeBron succeeding at it, or other of these athletes, then it gives rise to the question, why not me? Why not you? Why not the rest of us? Because I agree with the article. It's not just LeBron and famous athletes. It's every one of us who has an influence. And my influence being in the church and music and production and Christian hip hop, of course. And I already have had success in small ways, building podcasting studios, producing music, and things that have brought income in a very slow way, but it isn't the traditional way of just working for the boss or for the man or that kind of stuff. And not that that's not important. Like, it's back to LeBron. I mean, he's still playing for the Lakers, and he hopes to play, I don't know, a year or two still, right? And yet he's already, sorry about that, folks.
So my point is that you can't just do Lucy audio. I think I did.
Sure did. There. That is? Yeah, there we go. Yeah, something with that box. Not quite right. But anyway, I think the article makes a great point that you can't just do one thing. You can still have your job, your 9 to 5, let's just say, for most of us, but also build your media company on the side. And I think that is the way to go, because I mean, let's say, I don't know, that half of your income is, or maybe 75% is from a traditional 9 to 5, but then the other 25 is your side hustle. And it's maybe not even a side hustle, but it eventually becomes your full-time business that can create value for other people. So for me, media in the church, even though there is a lot of media in the church, but there's still not a lot of content. I was just, even in music production, I was just listening to a friend of mine saying that he spent $500 just on a template for how to produce a song. $500 for basically just presets, something that as a music producer I do all the time. And this one particular church was very excited, and they were willing to pay that much money for a template using Logic and Waves plugins. We're talking about very simple, a simple product. And let's say if whoever this person is, or this company who sells this template, I don't think it's Waves, I think it's some other person. If he sells 10 per month, that's $5,000 a month that he's bringing in just from one template, from a free, not a free download, but from a download that doesn't include anything except just presets, which of course is important. And people love that stuff. This church definitely did. So, and then as I've said, I also have had success building podcasting studios. I have at least one company, church, that I helped build a studio. It's very successful. And I have another one that also I'm talking to. And music production. I mean, who wouldn't want a template, back to this guy's idea? And imagine how many more ideas there are on how to resource churches that want to build music production studios, that want to build podcasting studios, that want to build media companies, that want to hire, let's say, us to come and build their content and to create their content, or to just simply resource them with tools and techniques and tips. Maybe an online course that's $100. And sorry about the focus there again. Let's see here. How do you do that? Let's see. I think this microphone's getting in the way. Let me see. Okay, there it is. So, I mean, this whole thing of creating courses, it's not new. Let me see if I can fix this auto focus that is not working really well. Let's see here if I can fix that. Speaking of media. Let's see if the app comes up here. Okay, reopen. Camera controller. There we go. Okay, advanced. Autofocus. Okay, let's get rid of that autofocus. Okay, I think that is... Okay, let me see here. I can focus. There we go. Right? That looks focused. Okay. So yeah. So what was I saying? That you can come up with a whole bunch of things that you can provide courses on. One of the producers that I really enjoy, her name is Kara, Kara, iamkara.com. And she says that her best-selling product on her website are presets. Vocal presets, auto-tune presets. I think also it's a vocal coach, or a vocal course on how to sing, basically. And these are things that, whether it's making her $1,000 a month or 10,000, I mean, you're talking about basically passive income, as they call it, right? Now, the real work comes in marketing. You have to constantly market, constantly provide value. You have to, I mean, do we go back to going door to door and cold calling churches in my case, or your case? So maybe you're into fitness, into beauty, into fashion, and maybe design, perhaps into sports or into fitness, into education. I mean, you have a ton of educators, actually not a ton, but you definitely have educators, being that I was a part of that for a bit, that let's see. This focus is still not right, is it? Let's see. Let me see what I can do here. Okay, that's better. That teachers, I mean, when I was subbing, there's a bunch of websites that we would use. EdGem and iExcel and a bunch of other places. Teachers Free, something, I forget what it's called. All these websites where teachers are willing to pay, or schools to pay $1,000 a year for a subscription so they can download these resources that are just simple math, simple reading, simple ELA. I'm not saying it's easy, but it's packaged in a way that really helps teachers. So you don't have to work alone. You can partner. I mean, even LeBron has a partner. And so maybe you're more the creative, not the tech person. Maybe you're more the tech, not the marketing person. I remember years ago, I called a meeting with two of my friends at a restaurant to pitch the idea of partnering, and they didn't want to partner to build a media company. But I've always been aware, and I'm thinking about that again. Thinking, okay, who can I partner with now, let's say in 2024, to continue with my media company, Trig Media, which does all kinds of stuff as a way to resource churches, especially being that that's my world in the area of media production, music, beat making, Enneagram personality stuff, as well as podcasting and content creation. All that goes with that, and to create it and to provide value online through courses, et cetera, and to, like LeBron, build a media company that can create value, can provide help and resources to people that need it. Because as much as we think that media is everywhere, of course you have to realize that most people consume it. And so not a lot of creators out there. Yeah, maybe on YouTube you see a ton of people, but as I said, in church, in music production, in education, yeah, fitness might have a lot. Beauty definitely seems to have a lot. But I mean, you think of all these athletes, all these podcasts, you think, oh, there's so many. I don't know any famous church podcasts, maybe one or two that I feel like are popping, but the church definitely still has a ton of room for media, because, and same with education, because these places are, these systems are archaic. They're dinosaurs, so they're kind of slow to the gate, slow to the line, and so there's still a lot of room for improvement, probably a lot of resistance, even in these billionaire environments. With LeBron, you can see there that investors, even with LeBron, are hesitant. And so imagining the church or imagining education, you're going to have a lot of people that don't see the value, that are hesitant, don't want to invest, don't want to believe, that want it for free, and all that stuff. And so, I mean, one of the things that has been, I feel, really effective the last 2, 3, 4 years post-pandemic has been therapy, online therapy, and coaches. And that's something that I tried. And I really lean more towards music and production more than coaching. But there's a ton of, still, I was going to say a ton of coaches. There aren't a ton of coaches. In the world, when I was in that world, sure, I knew a ton of coaches, you could say, but there's still not enough coaches. It's just like therapy, not enough therapists. Online therapy and mindset and all these apps are just beginning to be really effective. And now, as I said, post-pandemic, you're going to have a ton of people needing mental health resources, as well as music and media and online content resources, podcasting, music production, all the stuff that you see people do. Every church in Africa, Latin America, Asia, Europe, here in North and South America, are all wanting to increase their content and their presence online. And so I don't know, it's exciting. I am always dreaming and thinking about how to expand my media reach to help more people. And I believe that is the way to go. And as I said, it's not one or the other. Even if you are someone who's never been into media, or you don't have an idea, you can partner with someone who is maybe more the entrepreneur. I am more the entrepreneur / I like to also keep the rule. I don't know. Yeah, I am very entrepreneurial, but I definitely always need someone who's better at things than I am. And that's what you want, right? You want to partner with people that are better than you and to create something awesome. And so I know that it's possible, especially for the kingdom of God, especially for Jesus, and people are willing and able and willing to pay for it because we have so much bad content out there and worldly advice that we need to have more and more advice that is from a Christian perspective. And it doesn't have to be just its own separate thing. It can be. But even I was talking to a friend, the Whatever podcast in Santa Barbara, even though it is more kind of leaning towards secular stuff, when they have a Christian on the podcast, it helps a ton of people. And so, as I said, you don't have to be of the world as long as we are in the world, but not of it. I think that those are all very positive things. Maybe I'll close with this. Just a few weeks ago, I was talking to a young person who raps, and he was needing a beat for a performance that he had. And so he asked me if I had beats. I did. And at his performance in front of, like, I don't know, 100 people, it was a small event. He rapped to one of my beats and he gave me a shout out. And from that came a connection here, a connection there. I had another guy who reached out to me, and I'm connecting with him about some other stuff he does. He writes as an author of kids' books. And so who knows how one beat can open a door to the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. And all of this is this new world that we're in. And if you are creative, if you are someone who creates content and value, why not build a media company and find your niche within this big new world of media and of production, and do it for the glory of God and help a ton of people, help one person, help one kid, one family, one couple, one man, one woman, in Jesus' name. So I hope that that story and that article encourages you and gives you something to think about, and hopefully we can do something together in the future. Thanks again for being here, and I will see you next time. Adios.